All right. De-escalation versus running your mouth. And I want to talk about this not from like a legal standpoint or anything, but from a moral standpoint. And you need to understand that the more force you bring to bear, the less you get to run your mouth. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter if you train in MMA. It doesn't matter if you um, carry mace. It doesn't matter if you carry a knife. It doesn't matter if you have a taser. It doesn't matter if you have a gun. Whatever force you can bring to bear, especially when compared to the other guy, the more you're obligated to de-escalate that situation before it happens. And I'm not talking, you know, putting yourself in danger, um, where you react too late to a situation that you should have reacted to earlier. I'm not saying hold back once you're in that situation. What I'm saying is you have every um, responsibility to stay out of that situation. And you know what? If you're some dude who's 6'8", 250, and some dude at a bar who's 5'6", 140 pounds is yapping at you, um, then you kind of need to just send him on his way. You know what I mean? But adding to the cause or rushing towards um, that encounter is, I think, morally wrong. All right. Um, and the more damage you can do, the more you're obligated to stay away from that stuff. And to the point of, if you're carrying a gun, then every situation you should be thinking de-escalate because of the potential outcome of an encounter, of any type of conflict. Um, the it's lethal at that point. So if you say, "Oh yeah, but he was saying this or he was doing that," or so what, you know, um, if you get into it with him, he's dead, and that's on you if you haven't done everything you can to keep that situation from happening. And you're probably saying, "Well, that sucks. That's bullshit." If a guy's like, "I'm not gonna back down from some dude." You know what? Okay, leave the gun at home if that's your attitude. If your attitude is, "Well, I'm not, taking shit from anybody," then you need to really reevaluate why you're carrying a gun and if it's right for you. Um, because if you get into that situation, if you let that encounter happen, if you let you know, that incident occur and you kill the dude, are you really going to be morally justified? Did you try to avoid that? And if the answer is like, "Well, I didn't think it was going to go that far. I only talked a little crap." Well, you shouldn't have talked any crap, really. You're carrying a fucking gun, dude. Here's the problem. If you run your mouth at all, if you do anything to aid in that encounter, and you kill the dude, you're responsible. And that's where I would get into um, some arguments over like the George Zimmerman case. Okay, yeah, the dude had bruises and stuff on the back of his head. Yeah, he put himself in a situation where he had to use lethal force. He put himself in the situation is the key to that. You need to avoid those situations. You need, I'm not saying put yourself in harm's way. I'm not saying hold off and don't react until it's too late. What I'm saying is everything leading up to that conflict, you need to be thinking de-escalation. In my opinion, because of the potential outcome, you're morally obligated to it. Um, think of Chihuahuas, man. These are yippy little dogs, but what can they really do? And bigger dogs will back down from them. But what's the other outcome? The other outcome is they just tear them to shreds. So, how many big guys, like giant guys, do you know that are the nicest guys in the world? They kind of have to be. And how many little guys do you know, are a little loudmouth, a little bit on the loudmouth side? And most giant guys are just super cool. Some aren't. We have a term for them. They're called dicks. Um, I was walking through the fair and I was starting to get agitated. Uh, just I don't do well in crowds to begin with, and I came right up on the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life, and he spun out of my way, excuse me, and was the nicest, most polite guy, and that totally like made me go, why am I getting upset at you know in crowds, man? That dude, he could have crushed me in a heartbeat. So he de-escalated that from the beginning, and I didn't think anything less of that dude. Um, so when it comes down to it, um, if you're carrying a gun and you're out there and you're getting into arguments and you're letting your temper get the best of you and things like that, you need to check yourself. On from a moral standpoint, you need to speak softly, carry a big stick. All right, um, or don't carry a gun because you're putting yourself at risk for you know what comes along with ending another life, um, which is probably you in jail. No matter how justified it is, once the encounter starts, like once the conflict starts, you should have de-escalated it. So once the physical part starts, it's too late at that point. Um, and before you get all up in arms, I'm not saying be a freaking doormat either. Like, you don't have to. There's a difference between running your mouth and, standing up for yourself and things like that. And, you're carrying a gun, you're a grown up. So you should know the difference between running your mouth and causing more and rushing towards that physical violence and, you know, standing up for yourself or someone else. All right. And if you are standing up for yourself and you see it going that way, you need to make a decision. Do I want to go to jail over this, or do I want to suffer having to take this guy's life? Am I morally justified taking this guy's life? Like, does what's going on here warrant that? All right. I'm gonna talk in circles, so I'm out.